Manchester City player ratings versus Burnley with 4-6-10 as Jeremy Doku, good player ratings from the Manchester Evening News, as Manchester City beat Burnley 5-1 with goals from Matheus Nunes, Erling Haaland and 2 own goals. Manchester City battled through a stiff test against Burnley to return to winning ways in the Premier League. The Blues made it 7 points from their last 3 league games with a 5-1 win over the Clarets at the Etihad. Jeremy Doku was the star, and his early surge forced an own goal that looked to have opened the floodgates for City. But as they cruised through the first half, they were stunned when Jadon Anthony fired past Gianluigi Donnarumma to level the score. Matheus Nunes scored one and then made one inside 5 minutes to calm any nerves inside the ground before Erling Haaland added 2 goals late on. Manchester City versus Burnley in the Premier League, as Pep Guardiola's side chase a much-needed 3 points against the newly promoted Clarets Manchester City, are set to host Burnley on Saturday as they bid to keep pace with early frontrunners Liverpool. Pep Guardiola's side have had a mixed start to the season and are 8 points behind the reigning champions after being pegged back in added time at Arsenal last weekend. However, with Liverpool facing a challenging match against undefeated Crystal Palace, a victory over the Clarets could see City narrow the gap. Scott Parker's team have made a decent start to their return to the Premier League, securing a win and a draw in their first 5 matches. They demonstrated their ability to compete with top-tier teams after nearly drawing with Liverpool at Turf Moor earlier this month, only to be denied a point by a last-minute penalty from Mohamed Salah. Guardiola is keeping his fingers crossed that Erling Haaland will be fit to face Burnley. The striker was taken off during Manchester City's draw against Arsenal, with Guardiola revealing he was suffering from back pain. Abdulkadir Kusanov, Ryan Cherki, Ryan Ait-Nouri and Omar Marmoush are not expected to return to action until after October's international break. For Burnley, Jordan Bayer and Connor Roberts are nearing a return, while Zeki Amdouni remains out long-term. Jacob Brun-Larsen is a doubt. First words as Nico O'Reilly signs new Manchester City contract, just the beginning. Manchester City news as Nico O'Reilly signs a new contract at the Etihad. Manchester City star Nico O'Reilly has penned a new contract at the Etihad. The 20-year-old has impressed in the early stages of this season and is highly rated by Pep Guardiola and the City staff. He has now signed a deal with the club until the summer of 2030 with the option of an extra year. He is naturally an attacking midfielder, but has broken through into the first team side at left back and has started each of City's past 4 matches. O'Reilly was particularly impressive in the defensive display at Arsenal and has a bright future ahead of him. He was the subject of transfer interest from Chelsea earlier this year, while a number of other clubs were also linked with the youngster. But City have moved to tie the prospect down to fresh terms. On signing his new deal, O'Reilly said, "This is a day I will never forget. I have been at City since the age of 8, and to have made it into the first team and have played matches is a dream come true. To be rewarded with a new contract really is special. I am really proud, and so is my mum. She has sacrificed so much to get me to where I am today, so I am just as happy for her as I am for myself. But in truth, this is just the beginning for me. I have come so far, but I want to keep pushing now, improving every day, and become the best player I can be. Here at City, with Pep as manager, I know I can do that. This is the best place for a footballer to be. I want to thank everyone who works in the academy, all my teammates, Pep, the coaching staff, and the City fans, because without all those people supporting me along the way, none of this would have been possible for me." Director of Football Hugo Viana added, "Everyone at Manchester City is proud of our academy, and Nico is a great example of why that is. Any young City player should look to Nico and learn from how he conducts himself on and off the pitch. If they do that, they won't go far wrong. He is technically assured, intelligent, and a brilliant reader of the game. His progress since stepping into the first team has been excellent, and we feel he has so much more to offer. He really does have huge potential. Nico is also a fantastic person. He is so focused on his football, which is what we want from our young players. I am delighted for him and his family, and we are looking forward to seeing him develop further in the coming years." Manchester City injury latest as Pep Guardiola gives Erling Haaland update, and one star maybe back. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola spoke about Erling Haaland and team news ahead of their Premier League game with Burnley. Erling Haaland has been given the all-clear to play against Burnley after sitting out the Carabao Cup win over Huddersfield. City's number 9 did not travel with the squad to West Yorkshire after citing issues with his back that caused him to be taken off before the end of their 1-1 draw with Arsenal. There was some criticism of Pep Guardiola for withdrawing Haaland at Arsenal after the late equaliser for the Gunners, given the shift that he had put in at the Emirates. However, the Manchester City manager was forced into the change, and the Blues were left waiting to see how the striker's pain would settle. Having been given the League Cup game off, Haaland trained on Thursday with the team and is ready to lead the line for City when they take on Burnley in the Premier League on Saturday. He will be looking to add to his excellent start to the season that has seen him score 6 goals in his opening 5 matches. In a further boost for City, Mateo Kovacic could make his first squad of the season after recovering from an Achilles injury. The midfielder missed all of pre-season, and his recovery has taken longer than expected, but he could be fit for Saturday. Rayan Aït-Nouri, Rayan Cherki, Omar Marmoush and Abdulkader Kusanov are all expected back after the international break, but will miss the game against Burnley. Aït-Nouri, no. Cherki, no. Kusanov, number. Marmoush, number. Kova, maybe, said Guardiola. Long injury, surgery, but he's getting better soon. He's ready, but step by step. City will be looking to build on a positive fortnight since the September international break. Wins over Napoli, Huddersfield and United, as well as a draw at Arsenal, have left them 4 unbeaten, with matches against Burnley, Monaco and Brentford to come before the next break. Phil Foden form has consigned Manchester City player to super sub role. He has already excelled in Manchester City, have seen Phil Foden get back to his best over the past 2 weeks, and it has settled a selection dilemma for Pep Guardiola. You can see why Rayan Cherki is so keen to get back into the swing of things at Manchester City after the early momentum he built up was stopped in its tracks with the thigh injury he sustained at the end of August. The 21-year-old is eyeing a potential return to action next week after making good progress in his recovery, even if he is more likely to be back involved against Everton after the international break. While Cherki has been on the sidelines, Phil Foden has returned to form in style and potentially settled the debate as to who City's best playmaker is this season. It's not impossible that we'll see the 2 left-footers playing together at some point in the campaign. But so far, the only game they have started together was the routine 2-0 win against Wydad AC in mid-June at the start of the Club World Cup. It could be that Foden takes hold of the central playmaking role in this side and Cherki plays off the right, but there is competition there, and it's hard to see the 2 dovetailing for Pep Guardiola in the biggest games. He will want captain Bernardo Silva in the side, and he has experience playing with Foden when either can play wide or centrally. Foden's form in the past couple of weeks has certainly been exceptional. He has started all 4 games since the September international break, scoring 2 goals and creating 2 more. At the moment, praise from Guardiola is ringing in his ears. When Cherki does return, it looks like that central role is locked down for now, either by Foden or Silva, which could mean the Frenchman battles that duo and Oscar Bob for a role on the right. There is no doubt the £34 million summer signing from Lyon has a big future at City, but it was always likely that he would take time to settle after his first move outside of France. His return to fitness might coincide with a spell on the bench, and his performances as a substitute mean there is merit in that role. Guardiola has a bigger squad than in recent years when everyone is fit, and he will expect players to make an impact when used off the bench. Cherki has already shown he can do that. He got 17 minutes as a substitute on his Premier League debut at Wolves and scored an excellent goal. In the Club World Cup, he scored in another 17-minute cameo against Al Ain, and then created a goal for Foden with a sublime assist in a 29-minute outing against Al Hilal. But when Cherki started games against Wydad AC and Tottenham, he had less of an influence. He played 59 minutes in the first of those games and then just 54 against Spurs, withdrawn when City were chasing the game after struggling to make an impact as a number 10. Guardiola will not rush to get Cherki into the starting 11 or find a permanent role for him. Speaking in August, the City boss highlighted his long-term potential. He's a top-class player in small spaces. The vision he has in the final third is unbelievable, he said. His right and his left foot. We'll see when he performs. For people up front, it's a question of numbers, and he played 20 minutes and scored a goal. There are a lot of games, and everyone will be so important. We're so happy to have him. He's just 21 years old. He's a top signing for the potential he has, and he is open-minded. I don't have doubts that he will be a top-class player. His quality is exceptional. Cherki has already shown he can quickly adapt to a game off the bench and make an impact. That, coupled with Foden's form, might mean he has to continue doing that when he is back in contention. Kalvin Phillips surprised Manchester City. Return offers good moment for Pep Guardiola. Kalvin Phillips was back in the Manchester City team for the first time in 21 months as he played in the win against Huddersfield Town in the Carabao Cup. Kalvin Phillips travelled back from London on the morning of Manchester City's Carabao Cup win against Huddersfield Town to make his first appearance for the club in almost 2 years. The 29-year-old was in the capital on Tuesday as his partner Ashley gave birth to the couple's second child, a baby boy called Ari. But he returned to Manchester on Wednesday morning to be part of a City squad for the first time since December 2023. Phillips's epic journey was rewarded with 7 minutes off the bench as he continued his unlikely renaissance at the Etihad. His City career looked over in the summer when his number 4 shirt was handed to Tijani Reinders, but the £42 million